Something stirring at St. James Park tonight, and it's not just the autumn wind sweeping through the Tyne. A major twist has just broken, with Eddie Howe standing firm amid growing pressure. One star's future now hanging by a thread. Another name, once forgotten, is suddenly stealing the spotlight. But that's not all. A surprise move abroad has shocked even the most loyal Toon supporters, and a club legend has fired back after a tough defeat that left fans demanding answers. Big revelations, unexpected turns, and honest words straight from the heart of Newcastle United. It's all happening right now. So, if you bleed black and white, make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned, because what's about to unfold will leave you speechless. Anthony Elanga has found himself under heavy scrutiny after Newcastle's disappointing defeat to Brighton, but manager Eddie Howe continues to stand firmly behind his summer signing. The Swedish winger, who arrived from Nottingham Forest for £55 million, started his third consecutive Premier League match but was taken off at halftime after struggling to make any real impact. His removal, alongside Joe Linton, was a tactical switch by Howe, though supporters were quick to draw conclusions about Elanga's place in the side. Many expected him to light up the wings this season, yet the spark has been slow to appear, and patience among fans is being tested. Elanga's arrival had been seen as a statement signing, a young, explosive attacker capable of bringing pace, flair, and directness to Newcastle's play. Yet, after 11 games in all competitions, he remains without a goal or an assist. For a player carrying such a hefty price tag, those numbers make for uncomfortable reading. Even so, Howe insists that the winger is adapting to a new system, new expectations, and the pressure of performing for a club chasing European success. The manager believes time and support are crucial for Elanga to show his true potential. His brightest moment so far came in the Champions League clash against Union St. Gilloise, when he won a crucial penalty that helped Newcastle secure an important victory. UEFA even named him man of the match that night, recognizing his tireless runs and relentless energy. But since then, that level of performance hasn't quite returned. Domestic matches have been tougher, and opponents are marking him closely, denying the space he thrives on. Confidence, too, seems to be a factor, the kind of invisible burden that every young forward faces when goals dry up. Howe, however, refuses to let the narrative turn negative. "It's never about one player," he told the Shields Gazette. "Anthony has everything it takes to succeed here: pace, power, work ethic. Sometimes players just need that one good moment, that spark to kickstart their rhythm. He'll be a big player for this club. I have no doubts about that." Those words reflect Howe's man management style: calm, protective, and loyal. He's known for defending his players publicly while challenging them privately to raise their game. Behind the scenes, Elanga's attitude has reportedly been excellent. Coaches at Benton describe him as one of the hardest workers in training, often staying late to practice finishing drills and one-on-one moves. Teammates admire his determination and positivity, even during this rough patch. He's aware of the criticism and feels the pressure to deliver, but insiders say he's fully committed to turning things around. Howe's staff are convinced that once he finds the net, confidence will flow, and the goals will come naturally. Among supporters, opinions are divided. On social media platforms like Reddit and X, debates rage daily about whether Elanga deserves to keep his starting spot. One fan wrote, "He's got all the pace in the world, but no control at times. Maybe bring Murphy back in until Elanga finds his feet." Another countered, "He's young, he'll get there. Remember how long it took Gordon and Barnes to settle? Let's not throw him under the bus already." This split in opinion mirrors what happens so often in football. When expectations meet reality, patience becomes a rare commodity. It's easy to forget that last season at Nottingham Forest, Elanga also took time to find consistency. His first goal only came in December, yet he finished the campaign with 6 goals and 12 assists across all competitions. Those numbers remind everyone that he can produce when given rhythm and confidence. Newcastle fans are passionate, and with every underwhelming performance, frustration grows louder. But the club's long-term vision under Howe has always been about development, not instant perfection. Some fans have even labeled him a scapegoat, pointing out that other attackers have also struggled to find form lately. Howe echoed that sentiment in his post-match interview, saying, "It's a team issue, not an individual one. When our forwards aren't firing, the whole side feels it, from defense to attack. We all share responsibility." His words underline a truth about Newcastle's current struggles. When collective performance dips, individuals like Elanga become easy targets for blame. Tactically, Howe's system demands intensity and intelligence from wingers. They must track back, press high, and link with midfielders, all while providing attacking width. For Elanga, that's a complex transition from the freer, counter-attacking role he played at Forest. Howe's staff believe his athleticism fits perfectly with the team's identity, but he must adapt to the tactical discipline required at the top level. Mistakes, though frustrating, are part of that learning curve. Howe remains patient, reminding everyone that even Newcastle's most established stars struggled early on under his demanding style. The timing of his struggles doesn't help. With injuries and fixture congestion mounting, every performance is magnified. The upcoming Champions League tie against Benfica offers both opportunity and risk. If Elanga starts, it could be his chance to prove himself under the brightest lights. Another quiet game, however, might strengthen calls for Murphy's return. Howe must balance short-term results with long-term development, a challenge every manager faces when nurturing young talent. There's also the psychological side of things. Wingers live off confidence, and without end product, frustration can grow quickly. A single assist or goal can transform everything. The body language, the trust from fans, even the rhythm of the team. Howe knows this, which is why he continues to show belief publicly. Inside the dressing room, Elanga's teammates are reportedly urging him on, telling him to stay patient and keep working. They've seen his ability in training. Now it's just about translating it onto the pitch. Elanga's journey at Newcastle is still in its early stages. Every player arriving for big money faces the same test, dealing with the weight of expectation. For some, it takes weeks. For others, months. What's clear is that Howe sees him as part of the future, not a failed experiment. The manager's track record with player development, from Joelinton's transformation to Gordon's resurgence, suggests he knows how to turn potential into production. Elanga just needs his moment. Lewis Miley continues to shine as one of Newcastle United's brightest young prospects, and his latest performance against Brighton left fans and pundits talking. Despite the team's defeat, the 19-year-old midfielder impressed with his calmness, control, and confidence. Coming on at halftime for Joelinton, Miley instantly changed the tempo of the game, dictating play with the composure of a seasoned professional. For someone who hadn't trained all week due to a calf issue, his impact was nothing short of outstanding. He looked sharp, assured, and full of energy, qualities that Eddie Howe values above all else. Howe's faith in youth has always been one of his trademarks, and Miley is proving exactly why. The young midfielder completed 97% of his passes against Brighton, won every duel he entered, and, remarkably, didn't lose the ball once during his 45 minutes on the pitch. In an era where control and efficiency in midfield are vital, Miley's numbers tell a powerful story. But it wasn't just statistics, it was the way he carried himself. He offered balance, rhythm, and intelligence in possession, helping Newcastle regain some stability after a chaotic first half. Eddie Howe didn't hide his satisfaction after the match. Speaking to local reporters, he said, "I thought all our substitutes made a big difference, but Lewis, in particular, gave us composure. He's technically excellent, and even at his age, he understands when to slow things down and when to speed them up." Those comments reflect Howe's growing trust in the teenager. For a manager who values work ethic and tactical discipline, Miley's maturity is a gift. The challenge now is to manage his progress carefully, ensuring his development continues at the right pace. It's easy to forget that just a few months ago, Miley was recovering from a calf injury that kept him out of the England under-21 squad. Many expected him to need time to regain sharpness, yet he returned looking stronger and more confident than ever. His natural reading of the game allows him to anticipate danger and make smart decisions, skills that can't be taught easily. Even senior teammates have reportedly praised his professionalism in training. For Howe, Miley represents more than a promising youngster. He's a symbol of Newcastle's new philosophy, building for the future through patience and trust. Joe Linton, meanwhile, finds himself under growing pressure. The Brazilian midfielder struggled against Brighton, looking fatigued after international duty with Brazil. Normally one of Newcastle's most reliable players, has not been at his best lately, and Miley's emergence adds another layer of competition in midfield. Jacob Ramsey is also close to full fitness, meaning Joelinton no longer holds an untouchable spot in the starting 11. Howe faces a welcome dilemma, competition for places, driven by a teenager who refuses to play like one. For the fans, seeing a local academy product thrive brings a special kind of pride. Social media buzzed with praise after the Brighton match. He never lost the ball, looked composed, and that assist for Waltermaid was class, one supporter wrote. Another added, "This lad's the future of our midfield. Calm under pressure, clever with the ball, and brave when it matters." For the Toon Army, passion runs deep, and seeing a young player rise through the ranks evokes memories of Newcastle's proud past. Of players who fought for the badge, not just the fame. Inside the club, Miley's development is being managed carefully. Howe and his coaching team monitor his minutes, ensuring he doesn't burn out physically or mentally. At 19, consistency is the hardest thing to master, but his performances are already showing signs of remarkable growth. Analysts at the club have highlighted how Miley's passing accuracy and movement off the ball are among the best in the squad. His ability to receive under pressure and play forward quickly fits perfectly with Howe's tactical style, progressive, brave, and disciplined. What stands out most is Miley's personality. Quiet off the pitch but confident during matches, he embodies professionalism. Coaches often mention how he studies footage of his own games to improve his positioning and awareness. That kind of attitude is rare at his age. Senior players like Bruno Guimaraes and Kieran Trippier have taken him under their wing, helping him navigate the demands of Premier League football. For a club aiming to build a lasting legacy, having young players who are both talented and humble is priceless. The timing of his breakthrough couldn't be better. With Newcastle juggling Premier League and Champions League commitments, squad depth is essential. The upcoming fixture against Benfica will test Howe's ability to rotate his side effectively. Given Miley's current form, it wouldn't be surprising to see him start. His energy, vision, and ability to keep the ball moving quickly could prove vital against European opposition. Howe has hinted at giving him more minutes, saying, if he keeps performing like this, he'll make it impossible not to pick him. Looking ahead, Miley's role in Newcastle's long-term project seems destined to grow. Supporters see him as part of the next generation that could define the club's future. His performances this season suggest he's ready to take that responsibility. For now, Howe will continue to nurture his talent, balancing opportunity with protection. But make no mistake, Lewis Miley is no longer just a promising youngster. He's already an essential part of Newcastle United's present. His calmness under pressure, his precision on the ball, and his maturity beyond his years mark him as something special. Lloyd Kelly's story has taken a remarkable turn, from Tyneside to Turin in just a few short months. The defender's surprise transfer from Newcastle United to Juventus has left many fans scratching their heads, wondering how such a move unfolded so quickly. After joining Newcastle on a free transfer in July 2024, Kelly was expected to be a key part of Eddie Howe's defensive rotation. But just 6 months later, he's thriving in Serie A, wearing the famous black and white stripes of Juventus. For a player once seen as a quiet signing, his journey has suddenly become one of football's most curious tales. When Kelly arrived at St. James Park, expectations were modest but optimistic. Howe knew him well from their time together at Bournemouth, and many fans saw him as a smart addition, versatile, composed, and experienced in the Premier League. His ability to play both as a centre-back and left-back made him a valuable squad option. Newcastle had battled injuries at the back the previous season, so depth was crucial. Yet things didn't quite go to plan. Kelly struggled for minutes, featuring in only 4 league matches before January rolled around. Something clearly wasn't working. The reality behind the scenes was more complicated. Newcastle's strong performances in defence, combined with the rise of younger players, left Kelly on the fringes. Confidence waned, and form dipped. Even though he trained hard and remained professional, opportunities became rare. Then came the unexpected call. Juventus were interested. At first, it sounded like one of those transfer rumors that quickly fade away. But within weeks, talks advanced rapidly, and a loan deal with an option to buy was on the table. For Newcastle, facing pressure from financial regulations, the timing couldn't have been more significant. The Premier League's Profit and Sustainability Rules, or PSR, have forced clubs like Newcastle to make difficult decisions. Selling or loaning out players can provide short-term financial relief while keeping the long-term project intact. Kelly's deal, reportedly worth £20 million once made permanent, fit perfectly into that strategy. For the player, it was a fresh start. For the club, it was a pragmatic choice. Eddie Howe admitted as much when asked about the move, saying he hadn't wanted to lose Kelly but understood the circumstances. "It wasn't necessarily my decision," he said. "Sometimes, we have to think long-term for the good of the club." In Turin, Kelly has rediscovered his confidence. Under Juventus manager Massimiliano Allegri, he's become part of a rejuvenated backline alongside British teammates like Scott McTominay and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The Italian media have praised his composure, athleticism, and leadership on the pitch. In recent weeks, he's even scored against Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund, showing a level of attacking intent rarely seen during his time in England. "He's been a revelation," one Italian journalist wrote. "Solid in defense, calm under pressure, and dangerous at set pieces. Juventus may have found a real gem." For Kelly himself, the move still feels surreal. Speaking on Juventus's official podcast, he admitted that the transfer came as a complete surprise. "I didn't expect it," he said. "Even though I wasn't playing much at Newcastle, I still felt part of the group. When my agent called and asked if I'd be open to Juventus, it took me 10 seconds to realize what he meant. Then I just said, let's go. You can't turn down a club like this. Sometimes football moves fast, and this was one of those moments." His words reflect both disbelief and gratitude for the opportunity. It's a story of timing, fortune, and ambition. Kelly wasn't unhappy at Newcastle, far from it. But he wanted to play regularly, to feel trusted, and to rediscover the joy of football. In Italy, he's found all that and more. Juventus have given him a clear role, tactical discipline, and a platform to shine. The slower, more strategic style of Serie A suits his game perfectly. While the Premier League is faster and more physical, Italy rewards intelligence and positioning. Kelly's calm decision-making and reading of the game have made him an instant success. Back at Newcastle, fans have mixed feelings about the move. Some believe the club acted wisely, balancing the books while allowing the player to develop elsewhere. Others argue he should have been given more time to prove himself. On forums and social media, supporters debate whether selling Kelly was a missed opportunity. "We could use a player like him now," one fan wrote. "Left-footed, experienced, and comfortable in possession. Exactly what we're lacking." Another added, "I'm happy for him. He's doing well, and that's what matters. He deserves it after a tough spell here." It's a reminder that football emotions are rarely simple. Eddie Howe's comments on the situation were heartfelt. "We didn't want to lose Lloyd," he said in January. "He's a good player and a great person. But sometimes circumstances force your hand." Financially, the offer made sense, and it gives him a fantastic opportunity to play at a massive club. He handled everything professionally, no complaints, no bad attitude. "We all wish him nothing but success." Those words capture the mutual respect between manager and player. There was no drama, no fallout, just a tough but necessary decision. For Kelly, the future looks bright. He's already won over Juventus supporters with his work rate and determination. The Italian press now calls him Illinois Difensor Inglese, the English defender. At 27, he's entering his prime years, and a permanent stay in Turin seems almost certain. As for Newcastle, the move may end up benefiting all parties. The club gains financial breathing space, the player revitalizes his career, and fans can take pride in seeing a former Magpie succeed abroad. Football is unpredictable, and sometimes, a change of scenery is exactly what's needed to rediscover one's best self. Alan Shearer has never been afraid to tell it like it is, and his latest comments about Newcastle United's defeat to Brighton have hit hard across Tyneside. Speaking on Match of the Day, the club legend dissected the performance with brutal honesty, pointing out where the Magpies fell short. The 2-1 loss was more than just another bad result. It exposed deep issues with energy, organization, and mentality. Brighton ran 6 kilometers more than Newcastle without the ball, and for Shearer, that statistic alone said everything. For a man who bleeds black and white, it was painful to watch. Shearer's analysis focused on the midfield, where Newcastle were overrun far too easily. With Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and Sandro Tonali all starting after long international trips, fatigue was evident from the start. They looked flat, Shearer said. Brighton passed through them far too easily. That midfield trio just didn't have the legs. His assessment echoed what many fans had already been saying online, that the side seemed physically drained and mentally unfocused. For a club built on intensity and fight, seeing that drop in work rate was worrying. The statistics supported Shearer's claim. Brighton's midfield covered 6 kilometers more ground, pressed harder, and recovered possession faster. Newcastle, meanwhile, struggled to close down space, leaving gaps between the lines. Danny Welbeck took full advantage, scoring twice to cancel out Nick Woltermade's clever strike. You can't allow that much room in midfield, Shearer warned. The best teams punish you for it, and Brighton did. His words were sharp, but fair. Newcastle's effort level simply wasn't where it needed to be, and Shearer demanded more pride in the badge. After the match, Eddie Howe defended his decision to start his 3 international midfielders, insisting they were fit enough to play. It was a tough call, he said, but we felt they were ready. Howe pointed out that alternatives like Lewis Miley and Jacob Ramsey were not fully fit either. Miley had only just returned from injury, and Ramsey hadn't featured since his ankle issue. Still, even Howe admitted that the first half lacked energy. He made changes at the break, bringing on Miley, who immediately made a difference with an assist for Woltermade's goal. The contrast was clear to everyone watching. Shearer's analysis didn't stop there. On the BBC broadcast, he broke down clips showing how Brighton exploited Newcastle's structure. "Look at this," he said, pointing at the screen. "They're passing right through midfield. Too much space, no one pressing. That's not the Newcastle we've come to expect." His comments were backed by detailed replays of Brighton's slick movement, which repeatedly pulled Newcastle's midfielders out of position. The problem wasn't just tired legs, but tactical discipline. Howe's side looked disconnected, and Shearer didn't shy away from saying so. For Shearer, this wasn't about criticism for the sake of it. As Newcastle's all-time top scorer, he understands the pride and standards expected at St. James Park. His frustration comes from belief that this team is capable of much better. "You can lose games, but not like that," he said firmly. "You can't be second to every ball. You can't let teams outrun you. That's not who we are." Those words resonated deeply with fans, many of whom echoed the same sentiment on social media. The performance, they said, lacked the trademark fight that defines the Toon Army. Supporters, however, also recognized the context. The international break had taken its toll. Bruno had traveled halfway across the world with Brazil, while Tonali had featured heavily for Italy. Joe Linton, too, returned with a minor knock. Howe's options were limited, and his decision to trust his senior players backfired. Even so, fans expect energy and commitment regardless of circumstances. "Tired or not, you've got to give everything," one supporter wrote on X. Shearer's right, "We looked half a yard slow everywhere." The passion and anger were clear, not at Howe personally, but at the drop in standards. In fairness, Newcastle's second-half response showed character. Miley's introduction brought composure, and the team looked more organized going forward. Woltermade's goal, assisted by Miley, was a reminder that there's quality in this side, even when results go against them. But Shearer's point remained. Newcastle need to rediscover their intensity, their hunger, and their aggression off the ball. Without that, the pressing game that once made them feared loses its edge. "You can talk tactics all you want," Shearer said, "but if you're not running, you're not winning." Eddie Howe later admitted that fatigue and travel had influenced the team's performance, but he refused to make excuses. "We weren't good enough," he said bluntly. "But I saw improvement in the second half, and that's something to build on." Howe also praised Miley and Ramsey, hinting they could have bigger roles to play in the coming matches. It's a delicate balance for the manager, protecting his players while acknowledging mistakes. The fixture list isn't getting easier either, with a massive Champions League clash against Benfica on the horizon. Rotation and recovery will be crucial. For Shearer, the message was simple but powerful. The fans deserve energy, effort, and pride every single time you pull on that shirt, he said. It's about attitude. Newcastle have the quality. They just need to find their fight again. His honesty struck a chord across the fan base. Supporters don't want sugar-coated excuses. They want accountability, improvement, and passion. That's what Shearer represented as a player, and it's what he demands as a voice of the club now. For Howe and his men, the challenge is clear. Prove that this setback was a blip, not a pattern. What a week for Newcastle United. We've seen determination, frustration, and flashes of brilliance all in one. Can Anthony Elanga silence his critics and finally prove Eddie Howe right? Or will patience begin to run thin on Tyneside? Tell us what you think. Yes or no, Toon fans? Lewis Miley keeps showing maturity beyond his years, and that assist against Brighton was pure class. Is it time for him to become a regular starter in Howe's midfield? And what about Lloyd Kelly's bold move to Juventus? Smart business or a missed opportunity for Newcastle? And then there's Alan Shearer, speaking his mind as always. Do you agree with his view that effort and pride must come first? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget, win or lose, the Toon Army stands together. Wait, before you go, check out this breaking video from Newcastle.